security in this place is getting ridiculous. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening and welcome to the show. And here we go again. Same old stool, same ashtray, same dog ends. And thank God they didn't empty that. Oh, God, that's great. You know, a lot of people write in and ask me, say, why do I drink during the show? And is it because I need the drink to get through the show? And I can tell you here now, actually, the reason I drink is because it does, sitting here for 45 minutes, get very hot. There's a tremendous amount of light. And the only reason I have the drink is basically to keep cool. I want to make it quite clear that I am not reliant on alcohol in any way to get me right through this. Get away from that! We had a very famous man in Ireland once called Daniel O'Connell, one of Ireland's greatest wits, writers, poets, and politicians. And he once said of alcohol, as several, a little fellow walking into a bar, and standing outside is a nun. And she looks at him and she says, "Before you enter this den of iniquity, think of your mother and your father." He said, "They're dead. They're dead in heaven." She said, "Well, think of the damage the alcohol is going to do to your brain." Huh? What are you talking about? Have you ever had a drink? And the nun says, "No." He said, "Well, how the hell can you stand there talking about it and saying drink is going to do damage to your brain if you've never had it?" I'll tell you what. I'll go in, get your drink, bring it out, give it to you. You drink it. If you don't like it, then you can talk about it. But don't talk about things you've never experienced. What'll you have? And the nun says, "I don't know." "What do ladies generally drink?" He says, "Gin." She says, "All right, I'll have a gin. But get it in a cup so nobody will notice." The fellow goes into the bar and he says, "Give us a pint of beer and a double gin in a cup." And the fellow says, "Is that bloody nun out there again?" Get a little drunk in St. James's Park. I don't mean you get a little drunk. I mean there's a little. And he's looking at the duckies. I wouldn't mind having one of them ducks for my dinner. If I get a big stick and I bang one of them ducks on the head, I'm going to take them home and eat them. And there's one little duck sitting by himself, out of the water, nodding. So the fellow gets a big stick and he runs over to the duck and he goes, boom! And the duck goes. He picks it up by the neck and tears all the feathers out of it. Plucks it. And just then, as he's finished plucking the bird, he sees a park keeper walking towards him. So he throws the duck into the lake. And the water revives the duck. And there is this totally bald duck walking around. And the park keeper comes up and says, "What are you doing?"
He says, I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here looking at the duckies in the water. Going quacky, quacky, quacky.
He said, "You are trying to steal one of our ducks."
No, I'm not trying to steal the duckies.
He said, "There was a bald duck in the water. And there's all these feathers around you."
Explain that. He said, "Well, I was just sitting here having a talk with the ducky. And he said he'd like to go for a swim. And I said, okay, I'll mind your clothes, by the way."
Just a minute, sir.
What is the name of this ship? Hyperluminous. I named this ship Hyperluminous. Bloody thing's gone.
At one time in my life, I was what they call a freelance reporter, and I used to spend a great deal of time in the law courts of Dublin. Now, if you want logic, that's the strangest place in the world to go to. I heard a judge say, well, the fellow one morning, and he said, have you ever been up before me? And the fellow says, I don't know. What time do you get up? I saw a counsel, a rather pompous counsel, being taken down by the honesty of a little fellow. And the counsel said, are you married? He says, yes, sir. So to whom are you married? He says, a woman. He said, really? You're actually swearing on the oath that you are married to a woman? He said, yes, sir. He said, incredible. Have you ever heard of anybody being married to a man? He says, yes, sir, my sister.
Charges laid against the defendant.
Parking on a double yellow line, my lord.
Parking on a double yellow line. How do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honour.
All the evidence before me suggests that you are guilty. And after giving this case due consideration, I shall find you guilty. And the sentence of the court upon you is that you be taken from this place to a lawful prison, and from thence to a place of execution. And that there, on a date appointed by the court, you be hanged by the neck until you are dead. And may the Lord have mercy upon your soul.
It's only a parking offence, my lord. It's
It's
only a parking offence. It's a £2 fine.
You will also pay a £2 fine.
You know, the most boring place ever to be trapped is in a motor car in a traffic jam going nowhere. And what you got to do is learn to keep yourself occupied. I do a lot of things in motor cars when I'm sitting there. I have actually become the most mobile of conductors as far as radio is concerned. I sit there and conduct the radio. I occasionally upset the people who are around me by picking my nose. Not really, I just drive that up there. Actually, the thing to do is to try and attract the attention of other people. Even if you just blow the horn, doesn't matter. Just blow and do odd things. I do, and I go, and I go, and I go. I'll tell you, if you get a fellow, you know how you sit, or people sit in a traffic jam, and they'll read the paper. If you get behind one of those fellows and they're stuck in the paper, they forget the course of time and they're reading away. All you got to do is blow your horn. They think the traffic's moved on, they'll drive straight on. A nice one, and that, and get there and you go. You've got them going then. And they're all gone. Nothing worse than actually watching somebody trying to thread a needle. Everybody thinks they can do it better than you. And I haven't even got one. I didn't know.
fellow, talking to a fellow in Ireland, and he said, "Did you go away for your holidays?" He said, "I did." He said, "I did. I went over to the continent with my friend Charlie." He said, "Who's Charlie?" He said, "You remember that fellow I knocked over with the car? Broke all his legs, bits, pieces." He said, "I took him as a kind of, just a kind of feeling. We went over to Paris, went up in the Eiffel Tower." He said, "Did Charlie go with you?" He said, No, Charlie can't walk without his crutches." He said, "Where'd you go then?" He said, "We went down to Italy, went to Pisa, to the Leaning Tower. I went up in the Leaning Tower of Pisa." He said, "Did Charlie go with you?" He said, No, Charlie can't walk without his crutches." He said, "We went to Rome, talked to the Pope." We did. Didn't actually, he talked to us. He talked to Charlie. He said, "What did he say?" He says, "Charlie." He didn't talk, he didn't have an Irish accent, you know. But... He says, "Charlie, throw away your left crutch." And Charlie threw it away. He said, "Did he?" "What did he say then?" He said, "Charlie, throw away your right crutch." And Charlie threw it away. I said, "What happened then?" And the Pope, he says to Charlie, he says, "Charlie, walk." And your man said, "Did he walk?" He said, "No, he fell over. He can't walk without his crutches." I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there are times when my glass is nearly empty. Not very often, but occasionally. And then I introduce some sketches. And when we come back after the sketches, by some miracle, my glass is full again. Well, my glass is very nearly empty now, which might signify to the more observant members of the audience that I am about to introduce some sketches.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! It is I, your prince. Let down your hair.
Haven't you finished that book yet?
Haven't you finished that book yet?
All you do is read. You're on night work all the week. You only have one night off, and what do you do when we get to bed? Read.
Oh, shut up.
Well, there are other things to do in bed.
What, would you looking like that? A month-old trifle?
Very funny, aren't we? Well, since we're here to sleep, perhaps you'll get up and close that window and put that cigarette out. You know I can't sleep with the window open, and then you can put that light out.
Go, mighty. Get a cigarette out, turn the light on. You can't sleep with the window open. You can't do nothing. It's all... God!
What is it?
It's your husband!
Oh, quick! The cupboard!
It's been 3.5 years since I worked in television.
things have changed. I've changed slightly. One of the main changes, as you probably noticed, there is no ashtray. I have given it up. A heavy smoker. I used to even smoke in between smokes. I've given it up. Totally changed. And the most extraordinary thing about giving up smoking, to non-smokers, I'm a convert. I've come over. I've joined them. They're proud of me. They say, good for you. You've given up the filthy habit. Good. The heavy smokers who used to be my allies, I'm a traitor. Bloody Judas. You of all people. But one of the good things, or one of the new things about giving up smoking, is that I now have my sense of smell back. I can actually get up in the morning and open a window, throw it up and breathe it, and smell again. Petrol. Carbon monoxide. Dog shit. I mean, it's a taste. I actually thought when I used to eat food, it was the smoking. I had no taste. It's not the smoking, it's the food. It's bloody tasteless. And now the whole thing about being a smoker, actually being a smoker is very difficult in today's society because the pressures are on smokers. Society frowns upon smokers. There are signs everywhere. See them here. No smoking. Smoking is not allowed. Smoking is forbidden. The Americans, they're totally lunatic about it. When I was in America, I was smoking. Had a woman stop me in the street and she said, "You're smoking." Like I'd exposed myself. I said, "Yes, madam." She said, "You have a cigarette in your mouth." I said, "I know, I've been smoking for years. That's the only way I know how." But then, a couple of years ago, I actually decided, I don't think from pressure or anything else, I decided I would give up smoking because I have teenage children. And I knew that one day my teenage children were going to come in smoking. And I didn't actually think that I could be hypocritical enough to sit there and watch them go, and I'm going, "Don't do that. Filthy habit, give it to me. I decided I would give up smoking. And then I thought that because what actually happens, if you are a smoker, when it actually comes to giving up smoking, you're two people. There's a person who wants to smoke, and there's a person who doesn't want to smoke. So you have a kind of Jekyll and Hyde going with you all the time. And I woke up one morning, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and I sat there and I thought, that's it. This is actually the day I would give up smoking. And then I thought, well, I don't really want to give it up. What you should actually do is cut it down. What you should do is actually think, you'll only smoke when you enjoy smoking, because you like smoking, you get a certain pleasure out of it. But instead of it being unhealthy, what you should do is just take the moments that you really get the most enjoyment, and that's the time you smoke. And when you enjoy smoking most? I thought to myself, after a meal, when I've had a meal, that's when I enjoy smoking. Fine, you can have 12 a day. I'm actually sitting there, 8 o'clock in the morning, going, fine, 12, that's good. Right, I'm thinking 12 cigarettes, it's 8 o'clock now. I won't go to bed before 12 o'clock tonight. It's 16 hours, 12 cigarettes. 12, it's an hour and 20 minutes for every cigarette. And I've finished that one. It's only 3 minutes past 8. I've only got 11 cigarettes. My wife comes in, "Good morning." I shut up! Who's going to drive the children? Get the walk. 12 o'clock noon, I have gone through 9 cigarettes. I'm a lunatic. I'm sitting there, 9 cigarettes, oh my God, 12 hours. Oh God, what have I never get through this 12 hours. Please help me, please help me. I'm going, wait. You have some cigarettes. You've got 3 cigarettes left over. That's 4 hours smoking. You can cut them in half. But then I'm thinking, that'll be 2 dog ends. There'll be 2 butts. I'll be throwing away more cigarettes. I don't know, wait. I'm trying to explain myself. Now, here I have been a smoker since I was so big. I am now going through the first withdrawal symptoms I have ever gone through in my life. So I explained this. I said, listen, wait, calm down.
You are actually experiencing withdrawal symptoms. This is your first time. It's difficult, we know it, but you've got to persevere. Tomorrow, it's not going to be so difficult because you'll have experienced what it is today, so tomorrow it won't be so bad. But you'll still have 12 cigarettes tomorrow, and you won't need those 12 cigarettes tomorrow. You probably only need 5 or 6 or 4. So take those 8 today and...
Before we shoot you, do you have any last request?
See,
What is it?
I would like to hear you sing a song, huh? For me, before I die.
Me? Sing a song?
Yeah, I want to sing a song, huh?
Oh, if you insist, but I may not know all the words, huh? Granada, I have you under my spell. La 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 la.
Captain Hardy, sir. Do you think the Admiral will live?
I'm not sure, but stand by to signal any development of the fleet. I have arranged to fire 1 cannon, should my Lord Nelson recover, but 2 shots if he should die.
Look, sir! The Admiral's reviving! He's getting better!
Hooray! Well done, sir. Permission to signal the good news to the fleet.
Carry on, Hardy.
Aye, aye, sir. Fire 1! Fire 2 and 3.
We must inspect this cart. You British fools, always you are trying to escape.
And always we are finding you.
Always, yeah.
Oh!
There is no way the wool you are pulling over our eyes. Rouse, open the gate!
Come on, come on.
Look at the 2 fellas at the dogs. And they're saying, what do you fancy for this one here? I said, I think trap two for this race. And there's a fellow behind him, and he said, I wouldn't bet on trap 2 if I were you. Trap 5 is a winner. Trap 2 is in there as a blind. He said, do you think so? He said, "Did." So they put the money on 5. And it goes down, and 2 wins. So they said, what about the second race? He said, I think 1 for this one. He says, right, we put the money on 1. Your man's behind him again. He said, oh, no. 1 is a terrible lame duck. He's only there as a runner. I wouldn't touch him. He said, you said that the last time. He said, the last time I made a mistake. But this time, don't bet 1. Put your money on 6. He said, what do you think? He said, well, he seems to know an awful lot about it. You better put the money on 6. He says, right. Put the money on 6, it goes down, 1 wins. They go right through the card. They lose everything. The end of the race, he said, how much have you got? He said, I got 4 bob. He said, God, I'm starving. Will you go and get 2 cheese sandwiches? He says, right. He goes off, comes back with 2 ham sandwiches.
said, I thought you were going to get cheese. He said, I met that fella again.
Hold it.
Hold it. Hold it.
Hold it.
People are very intolerant of each other. The most amazing thing about intolerant people is that they are generally animal lovers. And especially in this country, we're brought up to love animals. Forget about people, animals. Dogs. Dogs. You adore them. Forget about people. Dogs. Dogs get away with anything. You never heard anybody saying to a dog, wipe your feet before you come in. Don't put your feet in the couch. People are always talking to dogs. You hear people, intelligent people, my baby. My what you woogie joogie. Chuckle them under the dogs and me, I'm sitting down going, me, chuckle me under the big swine. They brush them. Mummy's going to brush you nice. All those little bits. Mummy's got a nice steak for you. She's going to chop up so you won't wear your teeth down. Husband comes home, he says, where's my dinner? It's in the bloody oven. If you want to go get it, get it. People buy dogs little rubber bones. Rubber bones for a dog. He sits there and he bites it and his teeth fly up. And he's so thick, he's so happy to bloody do it all day. When you walk into a house, you sit down. So as those little terriers, boom, they're on your leg. And nobody says a word. They sit there with a single. And the owner of the dog will say, that's his way of showing you that he likes you. I actually saw a dog having the leg of a table. And the child said to the mother, what's he doing, Mummy? And the mother said, he's helping Mummy polish the furniture. You actually think of it here. If any person in this audience now suddenly wished to perform the act of love with a member of the opposite sex, here, what the hell would happen? I wouldn't mind. But the rest of you turn around and say, filthy plant, oh my God, you've never seen anything so dirty in your life. I went to the studios and there's somebody screwing somebody. But if you're an Alsatian, you get away with it. There are two subjects that are very touchy regarding the public. Dogs is one of them. Religion is the other. I've just done dogs. Here comes religion.
The Pope, discussing the existence of God with an out-and-out atheist, starts off very correctly, discussion, and as the hours go by, it gets more and more heated, and eventually the Pope turns to the man and he said,
The mom! Get the mom! And you, come here. You are like a man who is totally blindfolded in a dark room looking for a black cat that is not there.
The fellow said, with all respect, Your Holiness, I think there's great similarity between us both.
He said, what do you mean, similarity?
He said, well, as far as I'm concerned, you are like a man who is blindfolded in a totally dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there. The only difference is that you found it. Get a nun. Gets up in the morning and leaves and walks down the corridor. And another nun looks at her and says, it's a difficult thing to say, I'm not a nun. And says, you got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning. And she goes on down, and another nun says, you got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning. And this happens 15 times, and by then she's livid. And she meets the Mother Superior. And the Mother Superior is just about to open her mouth, and the sister says, don't tell me that I got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning! And the Mother Superior said, I wasn't going to say that. I was just going to say, what are you doing with the bishop's shoes on?
Yes!
Any job can get you down. It's a story about a priest who went to the doctor and he said, I'm just up to here with the job. He said, I can't concentrate on the mass or confessional or the poor or the elderly. He said, I just cannot. I don't know why, what it is, but I've lost all interest. And the doctor said, well, what you want is a change. You want a complete change, a breakaway. He said, what you want to do is take your collar off, get dressed up as a layman and just go off and do things. And the priest does. 4 weeks later, he's in the Playboy Club in London. He's on his third scotch. He's won 50 quid on the table upstairs. And a bunny walks over to him with big ears, a little tail. You could land a helicopter on them. And she says, hello, Father O'Rourke. He goes, you don't know me, do you? She said, of course I know you. Don't you recognize me? He said, no. She said, I'm Sister Bridget. We go to the same doctor.
For I had sinned, I had gained, very, very wicked. I had my way with beautiful clothes. I had gained goozing and swearing, and I'm very, very sorry. You have been...
Theologically speaking, this represents the continuum of Anglican orthodoxy, which we embrace within the litany and indeed the liturgical canon of the term ultra-canonic.
I am what you might call a practicing atheist. I'm quite happy to be an atheist because I think actually God likes atheists better. We never ask him for anything. We're not bothering him all the time saying, oh God, please help me, I want this thing. And as a practicing atheist, there's certain things that I travel around the world, and no matter where I go, somebody called Gideon leaves me this book to read. It's an Irish book because it says it all began at the beginning. There are certain things that, when I read the Bible, and I do read the Bible, that I find difficult to understand. I mean, if God has been there forever, what was he doing before he got to us? I mean, what was he out there doing? Was he sitting there going, bored today, what'll I do? I mean, suddenly from nowhere, he suddenly decided to create a world. I'll make a world, that's what. Make a world, yes, that's what I'll do. Rivers, seas, boom, mountains. Boom! Everything's there. I want a garden. I'd like a nice garden. Whack! Garden bee. Hate gardening. Need a garden. Ah, gardener, spit and dust. Adam. Hey! And he, Adam, never once says, where in the name of God did I come from? I mean, he's 40 years of age. He has no child, and he has no recall. He doesn't say, how did I get here? But he's quite happy. He just kind of trundles around the garden, working away. And God is looking at him. And he sees that Adam is happy. I didn't put him there to be happy. I'll put a stop to that. And God, during the night, sneaks down like a thief and steals, doesn't ask, doesn't request, steals it. His rib. And from his rib, he makes woman. And Adam wakes up in the morning, he's a real thickie. He's lying there, and there's somebody else, he doesn't say, where did you come from? How the hell did you get here? Where did you get those lumps? Just goes out and goes gardening. And God comes down and has a conversation with Eve and tells her that she can eat of any fruit in the tree in the whole garden with the exception of one fruit tree. He's talking to a woman. He actually tells her not to eat of the fruit. And then when she said, which tree can't I eat? He said, that one over there. He points it out to her. And when he goes and hides, and she sneaks up to the tree, and a snake comes down and has a conversation. A snake. Now, if I see a snake, I'll back off. One starts talking, I'll crap myself. The snake actually convinces her to eat the apple, and she eats the apple. And when she eats the apple, she learns shame. That's what happens when you eat apples. Now, she's not ashamed that she's disobeyed God or that she's eaten the apple. She's ashamed of one part of her body. That's all. She becomes ashamed of that area of the body. Now, why that area? Why not her elbow? Her nose? Do you actually realize that if Eve had been ashamed of her nose, every woman in the world now would be ashamed of your noses? You'd all be sitting here tonight with little nose knickers on. Men would be in nightclubs watching totally naked ladies with G-strings on their nose. Take them off. Oh, I saw a nose. Oh. And this is the book. This is the book that you'll go into court and place your hand upon. And swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
A very important part of the Irish way of life is death. See, if anybody else, anywhere else in the world dies, that's the end of it, they're dead. But in Ireland, when somebody dies, we lay them out and watch them for a couple of days. It's called a wake. And it's a party, it's a send-off. And the fellow's laid out on the table. And there's drinking and dancing and all the food you can eat. And all your friends come from all over the place. And they all stand around the wake table looking at you with a glass in their hands and they say, "Here's to your health." And the terrible thing about dying over there is you miss your own wake. It's the best day of your life. You've paid for everything and you can't join in. Mind you, if you did, you'd be drinking on your own. We have a custom. We have a custom that the dying man is allowed one question before he dies, which must be answered completely truthfully. Otherwise, the soul is damned. And you get a little fella dying. And he's got 4 sons, 3 of the biggest fellows you've ever seen in your life, and 1 skinny little puny nothing. And he's lying there and he's going, Mary, are you there, darling? Are you there? And she goes, I'm here, love. And I'm here beside you. I'm going. He says, I know. Don't hang about now. Mary, before I go, I'm going to ask you the question. Tell me now. Tell me, is that skinny little runt standing at the end of the bed, is he really my son? She says, he is. Honest to God, he is your son. And he goes, and she goes, thank God he didn't ask about the other 3. And if you're ever going to see a fellow who's on his way out, you never talk about death. You never mention it. And you get the fellows who are going to see a fellow who hasn't got long.
And the fellow said, don't say a word. Don't mention death or anything to do with death. He doesn't know. And don't let on. Not a word. Just be bright and cheerful and happy. They all walk into the little cottage and they go through the little door and over to the fella in the bed. He's lying there going, ah, Sean, you're looking great. Still the life and soul of the party. It won't be long before you're up and punching English tourists. And they spend a half an hour and they talk and they chat and it's all cheerful and jolly. They don't mention death. And they all say, goodbye now, Sean. See you again. And they're all leaving. There's a big fella going out the door. He's about 6'7", and as he goes through the little door, he cracks his head off the top. He goes, go! Oh, they'll never get a bloody coffin out of here.
Dame Doris Dwight will be remembered as one of the greatest ballerinas of all time. And perhaps it is very fitting that she was taken from us while achieving a double arabesque split during a performance of Swan Lake. She will no doubt be sadly missed by us all. Actually, the first funeral I ever went to, and believe me, this is true, I was 6 years of age. And as they lowered the box into the ground, the priest said, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. And I, for years, used to bless myself and say, in the name of the Father and the Son and into the Holy Ghost.
And so we say farewell to Sir Humphrey Potter, a man who gave his life to dogs. A judge at Crufts, the creator of 3 new breeds of terrier, and a lifelong friend and student of the habits of our canine friends. Let us commend his soul to the Lord. Amen. Amen.
One final custom that we have in Ireland regarding death and a funeral is that only one person who is buried in a graveyard can go to heaven. Which basically means if 2 people are buried in the same graveyard on the same day, the last one in has got to wait till tomorrow. So can you imagine what would happen if one funeral met another funeral going to the same graveyard? Little fella dies and goes to heaven, and St. Peter said, would you like to have a look around heaven? And the fellow, yeah, I would, actually. So they're looking around heaven. And he said, who are those people over there? He said, oh, they are the Muslims. They are Muslims there. And over there we have the Jewish people. And these are Anglicans and Hindus, Baptists. He said, why do you have this big wall here? He said, behind the wall, you see, we have the Catholics. He said, why do you have the Catholics behind the wall? He said, shh. They like to think that they're the only ones here. Good night. Thank you, and may your God go with you.
52's in Comedy Heaven with Dave Allen tonight. We join in his adventures into a world of eccentricity next.